2 cups of water. You can use 3 cups of water, but I have 2 cups of water, 3 cups of stock, and then I'm going to kind of just eyeball it and use the mushroom stock to replace. In the recipe I have 3 cups of water. But I think this gives it an added depth, so I'm not afraid to use that as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour that in there and let it come together for a little bit. And then what you'll end up having to do is work in batches in the processor to just because it's too much. But what will happen is, so what you can use the stock for is any place that you would have used the cream of mushroom soup. So we use it quite a bit with, you can top it with a meatloaf, and you can make a lot of casseroles, zucchini casseroles.
Meatballs.
Oh, the meatballs, that's right. So we'll make meatballs. Tomorrow night we have some grass-fed beef. We'll make some meatballs. Obviously we don't put flour in them. We can use almond flour, Parmesan cheese, anything to kind of bind it together. We'll make those, and then I actually simmer it with the mushroom bisque. And then you can serve it. I don't eat potatoes because of the starch, but you can serve it over like mashed potatoes. I prefer cauliflower mash. That works obviously really, really well. But what we're going to do is we're going to reduce this just a little bit, not too much. The more we reduce it, the thicker our soup's going to be, and we're not looking for a super condensed type soup. It's just going to be a velvety, creamy soup. So we're going to go ahead and let that go for just a little bit, bring it up to a boil. And meanwhile, what I'm going to do while that's going is get the eggs and the lemon ready too. I need thyme. This is organic thyme. You could drop it in, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna take the sprigs and get most of the leaves off. And it adds a nice earthy element as well to the mushrooms. So we're gonna put that in there. So just 3. If you'd like more thyme, go ahead, but 3 seems to be, that's nice. It's not too overpowering. So we're gonna take the lemon juice. You're looking for about half a lemon, so a teaspoon and a half. That'll work. And again, we're going to strain it. So we'll get that going. And then we're going to get our eggs as well. And the eggs really actually are quite nice. That's what gives it the velvety texture, is the egg yolks. But you have to kind of temper the eggs too, so you have to be careful. So we won't add those in until after we've pureed the mixture right there. Then we'll go ahead and do it, and we'll just temper it a little bit, and it'll be, and then it'll be ready to go after that. So we're gonna look for some egg yolks. So you can take a look. We want it to probably come up to a boil, and then I'll start taking this mixture and putting it in there. The mushroom stock I'm going to wait until after it's come together, because then I can kind of taste it and adjust it. It's just better to hold back than to put it all in, and it would be too thin anyway. So it's starting to come up to a boil. I'm probably going to fast forward this too. And you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of cream. So we're going to have that as well.
Heavy cream?
Heavy cream, thank you. Heavy whipping cream. I always use heavy whipping cream, always, because it has no carbs and it's tons of fat, good fat, organic. Obviously we used to do raw. I don't tend to like this because of the carrageenan, but I really can't avoid it. It's pretty much in all the heavy whipping cream. And if you can find a farmer where you can get it raw, obviously that's the way to go. We did it for a long time, and we're still here because I know a lot of people are afraid of it not being pasteurized. But anyway, so that's our mixture. I'm just going to keep letting it go. I don't want to rush it too much. Just kind of let it reduce a little bit. Turn that off, and we're just going to work in batches. just have another pot ready to go, so as you, it just makes it go by faster.
I would think your little measuring cup would help be better.
I hear you. I'm not a professional. So this is where you just have to be careful if you have a different blender.
What are you going to put that in?
What? A pot. That's one good thing about a Vitamix. It really does get a different consistency than just a regular KitchenAid. It's not done yet, but you can see it's really, really thick and velvety. And that's the only word I can think of to use. It really is. We'll just do this a couple more times. I'll fast forward it so you guys don't have to be bored with it. Sorry. All the way up, and that wasn't all the way up. Alright, put that in our pot. Put this on low, and then add that. And what's nice about this is if you want to freeze it, this would be the point to let it cool and freeze. You don't want to freeze it after you put the cream and the egg in. You could, you just have to be careful when you go to reheat it that you don't, you reheat it slowly and you stir it in intervals. Otherwise, it'll just separate. The cream it'll break. We don't want that. So you can see it's really thin. And what we can do is, let's taste it and just see how much of the stock we want to put in it.
Where you go.
It's super, super smooth. It's really, really good. It actually tastes really good, and we didn't put that much salt in it. We had the teaspoon of salt from the when we had the mushrooms in the microwave, and then I just sprinkled it a little bit, but it actually tastes really, really good. I'm gonna pull out some of the bisque, and I'm gonna temper the eggs. That way, they won't curdle. They won't start to scramble. So we don't want that. But what we're going to do, we'll do a little at a time. I'm going to add a little bit of the mushroom stock, but we're going to wait and see once we have the eggs, the cream, and the lemon to see how it is. But we're going to, hold on a second, let's do this. Put a little into here. And you temper it just ever so slowly. And once you've brought it up, the yolks up to it, you're good to go. Then you don't have to worry about them. You just want to do it slowly. It's better to not rush this part. Just a little more. And for making such a really good soup, it really doesn't take that long. It may look like it because I'm a disaster right now in the kitchen, but it really didn't take that long. All right, let's add a little more, and then I'll go ahead and dump it in here, and then we'll put it in there. Okay, so now I'm going to put the eggs. So we're going to just slowly put them in. So we still have it's nice and creamy. And we're going to add them in a second. Let's go ahead and put the cream in too. That'll help cool the pot down. So that was 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. And then because we tempered it, we're good to go here. And then at this point, the only seasoning I'm going to do to adjust it, and you can actually, if you went too thick, let's say you reduce the stock too much, obviously that'll help. I really like the consistency, so I'm probably not going to use too much of the mushroom stock. I know about a half, I would say about a half a cup of that should be all I need.
Should be using a wooden spoon.
I know, right.
I can hear it.
I know. So this right here, I'm actually, because the cream's in here, that's fine. So I'm going to strain the mushroom stock, and again, I'm just going to probably put about a half a cup in there. And I do save that for later. That's really good to add into anything. It's just mushrooms, and it's kind of got the umami effect going on. So you can add that to any other recipe. I wouldn't get rid of that. That's just like liquid mushroom gold. That's really good. Anyway, so this is the soup. You can reduce it a little bit more than that if you want, but it's just very, very velvety. And it's super delicious. I hope you enjoy it. You can always, if you can serve it just like as is, and you could even put a little bit of some shaved Parmesan on top of it if you want. You can fry it and toast some mushrooms and sprinkle some of that on too as a garnish. Anyhow, enjoy mushroom bisque. Thanks.